Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg faced lawmakers on both sides of the aisle yesterday as he tried to reassure them the benefits of the planned digital cryptocurrency. Joining us now, member of the Republican leadership team for the House Committee on Financial Services, Congressman French Hill of Arkansas. Thank you very much for coming on the show this morning.
Congressman, thank you for being here. You know, Facebook to me always seemed like a pretty harmless thing. I just needed to monitor my kids, right?
And your pets.
And yes.
And like share pictures. It's so fun.
You know, post 2016, there's been a closer focus on it. But what's crazy is that we found out the Russians were trying to influence it, and Sheryl Sandberg and others were trying to suppress that information. When whistleblowers would come up, they would try to suppress the information. And now it's where over 50% of Americans get their news. We regulated like CBS when Walter Cronkite told us the way it was. We regulated NBC. At what point do we finally regulate this this company? Because, again, they control over 50% of the news feed in America.
Well, this is why he's a regular on Capitol Hill now. He was back after an 18-month absence. I found him more humble, more willing to answer questions and have discussion. Of course, he came to House Financial Services to talk about their proposed cryptocurrency, where 2 billion people using Facebook would then have access to a Facebook currency for making payments.
Which is getting hammered right now in Europe. I mean, they're battling that everywhere.
He made a commitment yesterday, which I thought was good. He made it after the G7 meeting last week and to America yesterday that he would not implement, Facebook would not participate in Libra until it had the full regulatory approval in the United States, and he would not implement it anywhere.
Right.
And you answered a question from our friend Bill Hazanga. In fact, if we don't approve it, then I guess we might have to pull out of Libra, which I don't think is there.
So let me ask about the underlying question that so many people are concerned about, not just AOC, but a lot of my conservative friends concerned about the fact that you should be concerned, and anybody running for office should be concerned, that Facebook will gladly take anybody's money if they run political advertisements against you that are lies.
Right. And that's the issue. I thought fact-checking came up on both sides. You saw AOC on your video clip, but it came up on the Republican side yesterday as well. And that's why I think you'll see them back before Energy and Commerce. What kind of company is Facebook? How do you deal with their buying power, their monopoly power in that arena? Is it a media company? Is it a messaging company? Will it be a money transfer company? And this is what's going through. When you have innovation, which I don't think anybody in Congress wants to block, innovation or America being the leading place to develop technology companies, including that on social media.
Right.
But there is a clearness on where is the transparency and where is the oversight.
And what is it? Is it a media company?
And what is it? And how does it fit into American business, American society, American regulatory structure? Those are precisely the questions we were getting at on this idea of a digital currency.
So, you know, we still look at the internet. We still look at Facebook. We still look at Twitter and other social media platforms, somehow living in their own domain. Yeah. That somehow the rules that apply to the rest of us, the rules that apply to other broadcast outfits, the rules that apply to other businesses, somehow those rules don't apply to Silicon Valley. When's that going to change behind us on the Hill?
I think it is changing. I think you see it in the Judiciary Committee, House Financial Services, Energy and Commerce. I think you're beginning to see that. They're grappling with, well, what steps do need to be taken? I asked Mark Zuckerberg yesterday about privacy. I believe in a future digital world where we really have digital commerce, that we own our data, and that we give our data to people for a specific purpose, a health purpose, a financial services purpose. George Gilder's written a great book about this called Life After Google, because this is not just social media, it also applies to the internet service providers. And he did not really answer my question. He dodged that question about your right to control your data as your private data that then you allocate to people for a specific purpose.
Congressman, after what you heard from Mark Zuckerberg yesterday and your other inquiries, do you feel that our elections are safe as we head into 2020 from the kind of manipulation that we saw 4 years ago that we're still reeling from? What's your feeling about that?
Well, I think Congress has appropriated money for election security. I think there's likely, as we go through the spending process this fall, we may get more money for our states to make sure they've boosted their election security. And I think the discussion we're having today about transparency on social media, about the rules governing political speech, we want free speech protected. But I think Americans want to know that they've just seen an ad and that the ad is paid for by a group or by a candidate, and that they can make up their own mind about it. I do think that in his op-ed, Zuckerberg tried to give voice to that. They have a new rating system on their ads, and you can see certified slips up when you see an ad appear on your Facebook feed. So I would say they're making an effort to be in the right direction, to be more transparent. But are they? That's the question I think voters have.
The last 10 days of your campaign to say, to put up funny documents and say that you were a member of the Communist Party when you were in college.
Right.
And we know how these campaigns go. I mean, Jeb Bush was beaten in his first campaign for governor in '94 because Lawton Childs did phone calls the last 2 nights saying that he was going to cut Social Security. As a governor, couldn't do it. But I could go, if I decided to run against you the last 3 days, I actually flood Facebook with $1 million worth of online ads saying that you're a communist, and I have the documents, and I'm under these current guidelines, I could do that, and you would probably lose.
Well, and the difference between that and the world we grew up in media or even cable is they couldn't have that many ads inserted on a broadcast venue or possibly even on cable.
So doesn't that need to be regulated?
I think it continues to be looked at. I do.
And don't you think Republicans also are making the mistake of just looking right now as, oh, these are the Democrats complaining about it? No, but the worm always turns.
I didn't see that yesterday. I saw both sides complaining about the rating system, if you want to call it that, how that's screened. People are very protective, though, of political speech. Zuckerberg made that clear. He wrote an op-ed about it. I think we should be sensitive to that and hold true on speech. But we want to make sure that something is not done by a bot or by an unprotected issue or undisclosed issue.